Hey guys, this is Jason
This
Douglas.
is Adam MacArthur, voice of Yuji Itadori.
This is Derek Snow, the voice of Shinra Kusakabe.
This is Phil Parsons, voice of Kenny the Ripper Ackerman.
It's Merc Nguyen. You are watching Voice of the Heroes. Take it away, Fleeboy.
What's good, everybody? You know who it is and what it is. And if you don't, it's the one and only one, Fleeboy Jetson. And this is Voice of the Heroes Podcast. So if you're tuning in for the first time, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, click that notification bell so you don't miss any interviews or discussions on your favorite heroes or villains from across the world. And today we got a very special guest that we're shining our spotlight on. He's been in so many great anime shows and movies like Cowboy Bebop, Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, and Alpha as Ryu, the classic Akira, Digimon, and he's best known for being the strongest shinobi in the Leaf, Mr. Bushy Brows himself. I've always wanted to say that. Skip Stellrecht, how you doing today?
Oh, dude, man, you got that stuff down. That was great. My gosh.
Thank you, man.
Awesome.
I'll be trying, man. You definitely mean something here at the channel. For those who've been with us since the beginning of time, y'all know how we feel about Naruto. So to have Mike Guy in the house, man, what an awesome feeling it is. When you took on the role as Mike Guy, did you think the character or the franchise will be as big as it is now?
Well, no, I mean, that's something we don't even think about, you know? I mean, as an actor, you're just going from your gig to gig and hoping it lasts, you know? I mean, you know, there's an old thing about actors reading the script ahead. Do I die this week? You know, going through the pages. I hope I don't die. Because it's a gig. And when it's a fun gig like Naruto, man, you just wanted to ride that ride forever. And that was definitely a fun gig. I mean, that was truly a laugh fest every time I went in the studio. Every time.
That's awesome, man. Well, your voice was 101 on the show. We want to know the development of the process of the character's final voice. Like, how did you come up with such a unique voice for that character?
Well, you know, a lot of times, I mean, for me anyway, and we can get into a little bit later too, for what I do now and what I've done the last 20 years, which is called ADR and looping work. And there's a whole technique to coming up with different voices. But in this particular case, I kind of took just things that I was doing at the time. I was doing a live show around LA, and I'd been doing it for now 30 years probably. I don't do it as much anymore, but I was, and it was a murder mystery show, and I played a detective, and that detective was just a real stick in the butt kind of, you know, kind of very politically incorrect, and he kind of was down here. Well, what you're saying then? And so I had that voice in my head, and I was also doing Elvis Presley at the time and playing Elvis. And so if you go back and you listen to the first when Guy Sensei comes down on the turtle and introduces himself, you'll hear this, "How's everybody doing?" And you'll hear that Elvis roll in it, you know, and we eventually got rid of that and more into the chop sound of, like, if you go back and watch Planet of the Apes and you see Charlton Heston telling the ape to get his hands off him, and he talks like this. So when you talk that chop and you put it in with a little bit of Elvis every once in a while, and then there was another wonderful actor by the name of Ed Winters who was on a show called MASH. I don't know how the younger ones will know that or not, the TV show.
I do, trust
me.
I remember that one.
All right, he played that guy, that CIA colonel, and just a wonderful character actor. And he always talked, "I'm going to get you one of these days." So then when you put all that together, you come out with the power of youth, and it just keeps on going.
I love it. Yo, I love stories like that so much, on how y'all develop these voices and create these voices, because the range for some of y'all characters, which we'll talk about in a second, is just amazing. So chef kiss to creating one of the most interesting voices in the Naruto universe. Speaking of the Naruto universe, Lionsgate is in early development on creating a live action Naruto movie with Destin Daniel Cretton to helm the film. The film is also directed by the same director who, you know, did, what's that movie? Marvel Shang-Chi. And which to me, I think is in good hands. You know, I get kind of spooked when I hear live action.
Yeah, I know.
Anime together.
Yeah.
You know, mainly because of what Netflix has done with some of the, you know, more classic ones. But if you was to fan cast yourself as Mike Guy, Who would
Ay,
you
ay,
fan
ay.
cast?
Oh my gosh, man.
And I think you got to give them a little direction with the voice, man. They got to get that voice right.
Well, here's my problem. Is I don't watch a lot of TV, but some of the, I mean, I just started watching. A friend of mine told me, have you watched Penguin yet? And I said, no.
Ooh,
I watch more YouTube stuff than I do TV. I said, no, I haven't watched it. And he goes, you got to watch it. And I said, really? Is it that good? And he goes, it's Sopranos good. And it was very funny. As soon as he said that, I'm like, I'm in. And when you have an actor like Colin Farrell that can go so far out of his range, I mean, I'm trying to think of an actor like that would pull Guy off, because Guy is one of the most badass guys that there is, but he's also one of the most humble people there are, the most kind people there is, and also one of the funniest. And especially at self-defecating, what's the word? At laughing at himself. And he doesn't even get that he's the butt of the joke sometimes, but he doesn't care. So I'm trying to think of an actor that would pull that off, and gosh, I wish I could come up with a name. I'll try to think of somebody by the time this interview's over, and I'll just spout it out to you.
Nah, because I understand that, because he's one of the most interesting ones. That's not somebody that you could just throw anybody in that role.
No,
you can't, because Guy Sensei is, whoo,
he's and guy. That's kind of the tricky part about trying to make live action anime, because it's one thing in an animated character. It's another thing to get people, human beings, to pull off that type of thing. It's hard. I mean, I know there are actors out there that can do it, and I know I'll think of one before this is over. But it's tough, man, because people, especially anime fans are the most devoted fans in the world. I mean, that's why they get so much guff over stuff like if it's not done right. I did something early on in my career, and they replaced, we had done the series, and we might have done one movie, I don't know, or maybe they replaced the two leads, myself and one other person, with stars, because they thought that's how we'll sell it. Anime fans went off their nut, because it was like, whoa, that's not them. It was a show called Armitage. And it was like, that's not Ross. That's not Armitage. What are you doing? And we came back and did the next one, because that's all fans.
Wow.
Hey,
shout out to the fans, man. We know what we want. And
big time. And you know what you're used to. You know what it is, and it's like, wait, that's not him. That's not her.
Yeah, I couldn't hear nobody else play my guy but you, to be honest with you. I would instantly know if that wasn't yourself. Now, spoiler alert for your character and for the end of Naruto Shippuden. If you haven't seen it, please just skip over, come back when you see it, because you might get some insight on that last part. Might Guy attacks Madara, which cripples him at the end and leaves a deadly blow to Madara, declaring him the strongest opponent he's ever faced. Now, a lot of Naruto fans are like, man, he was facing Kages in that battle in the last in that great ninja war. He was facing all types of Jinchurikis and all types of people, and for him to say Might Guy be the most powerful, and everybody knows Might Guy, if you didn't have no ninjutsu.
That's right.
Straight taijutsu at the time. Are you a little disappointed on your character's arc after that moment in his role in Boruto Next Generation?
No, well, no, not really. I kind of liked it. I liked where it went. I liked the fact that, here's Guy Sensei, and he's now in a wheelchair, but he's still got life. He's still got joy. He hasn't changed, and I love that about him. He was a survivor no matter what. He was get up, put my pants on in the morning, no matter what, and keep on moving. And, that's what I hear when I talk to fans more than anything else about Guy, is like, dude, I went through this really rough time, and I was laid up in a hospital, or I was going through this stuff where I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. And I'd watch Guy Sensei and Naruto, and Guy got me through those moments. Well, it was no different for Guy. If he's going to say it, you're going to say it, then live it. And Guy's living it. And I love kind of the relationship that Kakashi and Guy took on in Boruto, where he's his caretaker almost, and I just love that, because that says a lot for true friendship. Even though they were rivals, they were also true friends, at heart.
I love it. I love that answer. Now, I know you. It must be the most craziest feeling in the world. We were just discussing when you have fans come up to you, saying that you helped them in such a difficult part of their life, and be at these conventions, and seeing toys of your characters, and posters, and fans just rushing to see you. What's the one line that they always, hey man, can I hear or can you write down? What's that one line from Mike Guy that
Well,
fans love to
it's
hear?
two. It's
Two?
two. There's two. Well, there's there's one's probably everybody just say, can you just say this for me? It's all I want you to do is say, can I record you saying this? Can you say this to my girlfriend? Can you? And it's usually Kakashi. Everybody wants to hear this guy say Kakashi. And so I'll usually just say, oh, Kakashi thinks he's so cool. And the next line would be let the power of youth explode. And I don't know if you know or not, but I didn't do the conventions for years. Just didn't have much of an interest in them. I was working a lot, and I just was happy to give my autograph out. And then it's become more of a business, sadly. Not that I don't still give it out to people, I do all the time, but it's a business.
Yeah.
And what was interesting was, Steve Bloom actually kind of was pushing me towards it through a text. Hey, this guy's really cool. Just want you to sign a few things. And it was like, and Steve Bloom, I love, and I said, absolutely, dude, whatever, and he even had to chase me down for a while. But with that said, Brian Donovan, who plays Rock Lee, he and I never met while we were recording ever. 10 years. We didn't know each other. We never met. We never crossed paths coming in and out of the studio. I crossed paths with almost everybody, not Brian. It's so weird that we would have so much together and never meet. So we met at a convention, the first convention I did. One of the first. I did some other stuff early on my own. But this organized one, it was Brian and I, and it was awesome. I mean, I entered the room. I got there a little late, and Brian was already there. And all I heard was in this Rock Lee voice, and we just kind of ran and met with each other and gave each other a big hug, and did whole anime tear thing, and it was a blast. And we hit it off so big. We become fast friends. We do a lot of work together. We travel together. And he's just such an awesome human being. And it was awesome that we just hit it off so well. Our characters were there, and then as just two guys, and we have a good time.
I love Brian, man. We had the pleasure of having him on the show with Danielle Judovitz, who plays 1010. We was trying to get like that whole team together.
Right.
So y'all scheduling is crazy, man. Big shout out to y'all, producing so much content and work. But it also says on your IMDb, right, that you played Itachi Uchiha, which is one of my favorites from the show. Definitely one of my favorites. And I didn't know that. Like, I'm a huge Naruto geek, and I never knew that you played Itachi. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, here's the secret to that is I didn't know either. What happens is, oftentimes you're recording a session as your character, in this case, Guy Sensei. And at the end of the recording session, depending on how much time you have left, you'll do a few other characters. And at that time, it was the introduction of Itachi, and they didn't have it cast yet. And it was just simply, we need a voice in this character, which is why I didn't remember doing him, because I've done, probably 25, 30 over the years, maybe even more than that. But characters with lines, and then of course we do all the background laughing and snap. So that's all it was. It was just the first 2 episodes. Now, I would have never put that out because it's clearly Crispin Freeman. I mean, he is Itachi. He's the dude, and I give him all the credit and the respect. I just happened to be in the booth at the time and did him, and the agency that I'm with, when I'm at the cons, they put his picture down on the table. I said, I didn't do him. And they said, yeah, you did. You did in the first 2 episodes, and the fans want a piece of that. I'm like, okay, as long as I can, go on and let people make sure they know, hey, it was Crispin Freeman. And most people know that anyway. I don't have to tell them, but that was it. So I really don't take a whole lot of credit for Itachi. That was all the man.
No, that's very interesting to know. And it has me wanting to go back now and watch those 2 episodes just so I can hear the difference because I couldn't. And
Yeah.
it's really dope to see. And I think the first introduction with Itachi is when they came, and I think the biggest meme when he choked Sasuke, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is an iconic moment in Naruto. And for you to have played in that moment is absolutely incredible within itself. So that's something dope, man. Heroes, you learn something new every day. Now, I got a little thing that I do here on the podcast, right? Where I mix up some of your characters that you played over the years, and we got us a fight to the death, so to speak. Now, I put characters like Ryu from Street Fighter, the animated movie, Mike Guy from Naruto Shippuden and Naruto, Vicious from Cowboy Bebop, and Lucian from Dynasty Warriors. Now, who gets smoked first and why, and who wins this battle royal and why?
Well, I mean, the last two, they have weapons, so that's and they're very good with them. So that's a tough one, I mean, both Ryu and Guy, they could get around it, I'm sure, especially Guy. But they've got some pretty badass weapons, and they know what to do with them. So that's a tough one there. If you're going to put Ryu and Guy together, I'm going to go with Guy just because. I mean, Guy took on Madara. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, what are you going to say?
He basically took on a god. So all right, so Ryu gets dropped first. Now you have Vicious, Lucian, and Mike Guy.
Well, I think I gotta just take. I got to take Vicious over the Dynasty Warriors, both of them, Sun Quan or Lucius, and then it would be Vicious and Guy. And I only say reason to say that is because I think Vicious was pretty badass. I mean, he was just bad to the bone, bad to the bone, and cold. And then on the other side, I'm gonna still go with Guy just because. Again,
let's go.
You know what I mean?
Guy wins.
I think so, dude. What do you think?
I'm not gonna lie. I think he does too. To be honest, I think if he gets a clean blow on any of them, it's over. It's over. All he needs is a clean blow, and he's not gonna give up.
Leaf Hurricane, baby, coming out of the sky.
And if things get really ugly, and he gets into that gate mode, it's over.
Yeah.
It's pretty much over for whoever he's facing in that octagon. Now, like I said, you were the original voice for Ryu in Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, which is a classic in my eyes. It's one of the first few animated movies I've ever seen. Also in Alpha and the show. Now, my thing is, right, you played in so many great classic movies. Akira, also, you was in Akira. During that time, how difficult was it to get some of these roles? Because you was the leading role in Alpha. Basically, Alpha was surrounded around Ryu's story and his lost kind of brother type thing. So, how difficult was it to get into animation then than it probably is now?
I think it was probably less difficult then than it is now. So many people are doing it. So many very talented young actors. I will tell you how that all came to be. I was an on-screen actor looking for a way to make money other than waiting on tables, parking cars, pounding nails, or 1,000 other jobs that I did coming up. And a friend of mine, I don't remember who it was, but somebody said, "Hey, call this dude. He's looking for voice people to do this anime thing." And I'm like, "Anime thing? What are you talking about?" And he told me, "Oh, all right." His name was Kevin Seymour, and he was like the OG of anime dubbing. I mean, this guy was a dude. Unfortunately, he's not with us any longer, and rest in peace. He's just my guy. And I thought he hated me for years, but that's another story. But it was all done at a place. His company was Magnitude 8 at Laurel Studios at the end of Laurel Canyon. And I'm still friends with them. They don't do the voice stuff anymore, but I still keep up with them. Les Claypool and Mary Claypool, two great anime people. Anyway, so they said, call this dude. So I did. And he was like, yeah, call me back and just leave a message, read a comic book. And that's about his attitude, you know? And I'm going, all right. So I went and got a comic book and read it on his end. About a week later, said, yeah, I think I got a part for you. Why don't you come in? So I did. And I don't know what it was. It was just, I think it was a small thing. And then before I knew it, a couple of weeks later, maybe a month later, he called me and said, yeah, I want you to come in and read for this Ryu thing, you know, Street Fight. And I did, and I got it. And I did Armitage with him and was on Armitage for quite a long time. And I might have did Armitage before Street Fighter. And it just kind of just kept rolling, you know, because it's the same company, you know. Did a few games with those guys, and it just, that's how it was. You know, it wasn't the big competition that it is now, you know.
How different is that from going to animation to gaming? Is there much of a difference, or?
Well, yeah, sort of, because I mean, I did a lot of early game war type games, you know, and stuff, and it's just a lot of yelling. You know, it's not quite the stories that it is now. You know, now there's a whole lot more storytelling being done in games. Back then, it was just a lot of screams and yells. And although my first game I ever did was like a PlayStation 1, you know, the OG PlayStation, and it was called Silent Bomber. And I think I was the only voice in it. And that was pretty cool. It's like I always look for that game because it's like a collector's game now. And it was a cool game. That one had a little bit of a story to it. But most of the stuff I started doing was just, you know, just give me a small, medium. That's how you do it. You do a small, medium, loud, and you go down a page of 10 lines. Incoming, you know, just, and then you go on to the next one, you know, or whatever. And it's just, it was kind of killing my voice. And so it was like, I kind of laid low on a lot of that, you know, because I do, most of the time I do what's called looping. I do ADR work, and I do all the background voices in television and film. So when the extras look like they're talking, they're really not. We come in and we put voices in their mouths. And that's how I was making a living. So I couldn't blow my voice out on a Monday doing a Call of Duty and then go to work on Tuesday talking like this, especially if I was doing a high school show. Hey, dude, you can't walk in high school and say, no, my mom thinks that really sucks. You know, it's like, it doesn't play, you know.
It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work, man. You got to get that voice up, and, you know, it's like, yeah, whatever, dude, whatever you want to do, you know. So that's why I kind of stopped doing that. But it's different. It's more of just a rattle down the page with lines, and you got a lot of lines to do. And but I enjoyed it, but it was just got to the point where I'd enjoy the anime because there's just more character in the anime. Not today. The games today, they got a whole story going on. Lots of great characters.
They're a lot different these days.
Yeah, a lot different.
But let's talk a little bit about that. I'm glad you brought that up. You've been in the business for over 4 decades. And, you know, what's the most important thing you learned within that time? And also, what's the biggest difference now? Because before you didn't have to worry about AI. Now there's all types of stuff going on with, you know, mixing and things in the studio that's completely different, and engineers or studios using AI now. What's the most important thing you learned? And then we'll get into the AI stuff.
You know, I had an acting teacher early on. His name was Ed Hooks, and just a terrific person. And the one thing that he told me, you know, I think I might have been leaving at the time. I had studied with him for a couple of years, and just a wonderful human being, great actor. And he said, dude, he said, whatever he said, Skipper, he said, whatever you do, wherever you go, whatever role you play, just always be honest. And that was, I don't know, 30 something years ago, probably. And that is something that I always remembered. Whatever, even Mike guy, you know, you have to be honest with everything he does, even though he's this huge, grand character, you know, even though I'm going to do 1,000 push-ups, you know, you still got to be honest with that, you know, or no matter how crazy it might be, there's still an honesty in it. You know, I did a play one time, complete farce. It was just so out there, but within that world, there's an honesty. And I think for all the young actors coming up, whatever you do, whatever you're auditioning for, be you and just be honest. You know, don't try to be anybody else. And I went through all that, trying to be, you know, the cool guy, the tough guy, whatever. And I think I struck probably more gold when I just decided I'm just going to be who I am, and it's what it is, you know? So I try to tell people that now, just be you, man, be you and be honest, you know? And then it just comes down to working hard and sticking with it. Don't let anybody tell you you can't, you know, you just keep going, keep moving forward. I mean, there's always going to be limitations.
Key, right?
What's that?
Consistency is key, right?
That's exactly right, you know, and stick-to-itness. You got to stick to it, and you do whatever you have to do. Dude, I've worked so many jobs as a young actor so I could have the freedom to go on that audition. I was pounding nails and doing construction, and I would work for people, and they know what I did, and they say, I'd tell them, I got to go to an audition at 2. And they were like, you need to take a shower before you go? No problem. And then I'd go back and I'd work until it was dark. I'd still do the job right. You know, I wouldn't cut any shortcuts. You know, I would do it right, do it well. And they were like, yeah, dude, whatever you're going to do, I hope you get it. And I'd come back, you know, how'd you do? You know, and it was pretty awesome. But you just have to do what you do. You know, today, I think young people just have this vast opportunity with the social networking and the YouTubing, well, look at you, look at yourself. I couldn't have done what you're doing when I was your age. We didn't have it available to us, you know. I'll tell you, I was working as a caterer for years, and the caterer came and said, hey, you want to DJ? And I'm like, I don't know, what do I got to do? Just play records and talk fast and be cool. Yeah, okay. I mean, and I was at a podium, you know, spinning records and you know, hey everybody, how you doing out there? You know, all right, here we go. It's a nice one, Madonna. You know, that's what we had. You know, we didn't have what you have, and kids today, they can pretty much, you know, cut their own path. But you have to understand, you know, it's like a young kid saying, "I'm going to be a pro baseball player." Well, that's great to think you're going to do that, but that may not work out. You know, you can work hard at it, but there's a very few that do it. You know, I'm going to be a movie star. Well, that's great. But for every one movie star, there's 100,000, you know, 1 million, I don't know, that didn't make it, you know. I think most of the people that I went to acting class with, I don't see them anywhere because they decided to go a different direction. So, you know, you have to, you know, have your wits about you and think within reason, but there's no reason you can't shoot for the star, you know. But if you land on one just below the one you were hoping for, embrace it, love it, and do the best you can. Do it 100%, you know, and you may get to that next one. You know?
Hey, I love it, man. I love the answers. So now let's talk a little bit about AI, right? And, you know, some of the concerns the industry is having, some of the strikes it put us through, you know, months and months of, you know, people fighting against AI. Give me your take on it.
Well, you know, I don't know, a few years back, this just kind of puts in perspective. A few years back, I was out washing my truck in my driveway, and this kid came up in a cool little car, maybe a Honda or something, you know, and he had packages for me from Amazon. And I said, don't you guys drive vans anymore? Oh, no, man. It's like I'm on this flex thing. I just do what I want when I want, and I'm going to school, and, you know, and I study, and then I call him and say, hey, I'm on Nixon deliveries, and he's going on and on. And I said, dude, he says, yeah. And then I Uber, and you know, around my schedule. I'm like, wow, that is really cool. And I wish I could do the impression of him. I'm going to kind of do it sitting here. And he just goes, yep, it's a new world, as he walks off. And I was like, I'll never forget that. It's a new world. And it is. And AI is a part of it. It's just the way it is. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he was telling me that he was talking to a producer, and they were saying, you know, the fact of the matter is AI does, on some stuff, does a great job, and it's a fraction of the money. I get that from a business sense. I've lost work to AI already. I started losing work to AI a couple of years ago, you know, because I used to do voice matching where you match the voices of the stars. You take out the cuss words, or you do their fighting. Well, AI can do that now. Or they couldn't get the stars, so they bring in guys that can mimic their voices and sound like them, and then they fill it in. Well, now all I have to do is type the words in, run it through some software, and it comes out sounding just like, you know, whoever. And so there was some job loss there, and it's going to be more, especially in the ADR world. And it's just what it is, unfortunately. And it's going to be everywhere. You know, I mean, going to a McDonald's, you know, what do you order? You don't order from the kid at the counter anymore. You go over there and punch your order in. You know, how many jobs did people lose because of that? That's AI. It's the same thing.
Yeah, that is true. And I'm gonna keep it 100. My like the way I feel about it, it's good for certain things or whatever, but I still feel like I don't think it can deliver what an actual voice actor can deliver in those lines. With those lines that make us, smile, laugh, cry. The emphasis like on each line or the dedication put into it. I still don't think AI is there.
It's
Like
not.
video games and stuff, whenever you hear AI or you see it, played around with on social media, whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
it feels dull. It
Yeah.
feels like no
There's no heart.
soul. There's
Yeah.
no soul there. There's no, and I hope they don't do that with anime because some of these animes, like you said, till this day, there's somebody out there that Mike Guy got them through their day
Yeah.
because they felt what he was saying through those lines. They understood the assignment. They either cried or they laughed hysterical whenever jokes was put on Mike Guy, whatever the case may be. Those can't be taken away. So that's just my take on it. But I understand, like you
100%.
said, it's a new world and things have to progress.
It's coming. You know, all of that, what you say, it's coming, unfortunately. And what we have to realize is along with that, there's some dangers that come along with it. So we need to be able to hold back and police that. I tell my wife, my wife and I, we have a code word. And even though it may sound like me on the phone telling you, because the ability is there for somebody to make a phone call and sound just like me through AI
Wow, I
and
didn't even know
say,
that.
hey, I'm hurt, I'm this, I'm that. I need you to go to the store and wire this money so I can get out of here. A host of things, and it's already there. So, and like so we need to take precautions for that, and not let it, get run away. It's like, the shirt is those who sell the panic, sell the cure. It's just so true, so it's just, we got to be careful and we can't go so fast that we get beyond ourselves as humans. And I think we're doing that. When I see these cars driving by themselves, I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. You tell me that they're going to do that with a plane. I'm not getting on that plane. I want somebody up there, I'm just
Yeah,
not
you're
ready to
right.
go over there yet. But it's coming.
Nah, I love that. And not only did you really just install something in my brain in this conversation, because after I get off this, I'm definitely making a code or a password for my wife just in case anything happens, for her safety and mine's. That's actually a brilliant idea, and I'm gonna and utilize that. Now, are there any upcoming or ongoing anime series that you would like to be a part of that you might have had seen and like, that's actually, a pretty good series. I would like to be a part of that.
I mean, yeah, there's a couple of them out there now, just because I see the actors that are involved in them, and they're pretty cool, bunch of cool dudes, and it's like, yeah, I'd like to hang out with those guys and work with them. But I don't watch a lot of anime. I don't watch a lot of anything other than I do watch a lot of how-to stuff and hacks and stuff. I like learning stuff. I like learning how to do things, and stuff that I don't know. There's a guy on YouTube I watch. He travels and he just talks to people all over the world, and I love that. I love getting experiences that I may not be there, but I understand people from a different perspective, and so I watch him all the time, and just that's kind of what I'm into. So I don't unfortunately watch a lot of anime. I guess Death Note, would be kind of cool to be a part of. I definitely would have liked to have been a part of what's the other one? It's slipping. Kid with the hat. They're making a movie out of it. They're Bleach.
Oh,
That would have been a
Bleach,
cool,
Bleach.
cool thing to be a part of. I knew a
Yeah,
lot of
Bleach is fire. I ain't even gonna lie. And this is one of the highest rating anime shows of the year so far.
yeah.
That's pretty dope. So since you don't watch a lot of anime, usually I ask everybody, what's your Mount Rushmore of anime characters? But I'm gonna switch it up for you. What would be your Mount Rushmore of voice actors? People that impacted you, maybe inspired you. What would be that Mount Rushmore for you?
Well, for me, it's probably more of just the person. You want the person, the actor? Is that
Yeah,
what you're
give me
thinking?
4 actors. Your
Well,
number.
the actors have got to be, well, first off, Brian Donovan is my number one, just because it's been so great getting to know him. It's just been awesome. Steve Bloom is another one. Steve Bloom and I have crossed paths so many times, and then I think the person I hold, up here is the person that really got me into this, and really she was just there the whole time, and that's Mary oh my gosh, Mary Elizabeth McGuinn. Mary Elizabeth and I go so far back. She's so awesome, and she's the one that I did Cowboy Bebop for. She's the one that directed me in the original and casted me in Naruto. I mean,
What a
I have
blessing.
everything I owe everything, but not just because I owe her that, because she's just a great person. I love her dearly. I mean, we used to play poker together, and she moved out of the state, but those two, Steve and her, I have a lot to, say, hey, thank you for. And I'm trying to think of another one, and I don't know. Probably going back to when I was a kid, and, the old Mel Blanc stuff, because that guy was just the icon of voices, not anime, but animation,
Yeah, he
I
was
mean,
everyone.
dude, everyone, and his son picked up where he left off, but that guy, that's a whole different level of voicing, that was pretty crazy.
That's awesome. All right. Are there any lines from any one of your characters that resonate with you on a personal level?
I think, well, I actually tell people all the time, just saying it, man, live the power of youth, stay young, no matter what, stay young. I'm old, but I still live young, and it keeps me getting up. I don't let anything stop me still, and I laugh a lot. So, I mean, that's a lot of it, that, let the power of youth explode. The other one would probably be, Guy has another line, and these are all Guy lines, because they were the most inspirational lines that you could take in life.
Hey, that's
It
Guy
was,
Sensei. Well, they got to be inspirational.
yeah, exactly. And I think it was along the lines of, I think he said something like, I was a loser once too, but through perseverance, no, I think I was a loser like you, but through perseverance, you can become the genius that I am, or something along those lines. And I just love that. I had to look it up for the exact wording, but it was like, yeah, through hard work and perseverance, you too can become the genius that I am. And it was like,
I
and he
love that
realized,
also. Well, we're coming to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for coming by and telling your great story, man. I love them. I know our community will also. Heroes and villains, hit that comment section and let me know what you loved most about this episode. And also, who would you like to see next on Voice of the Heroes podcast? And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Sing it with me.